Hello everybody, it's Emery48 here and welcome back to another Marvel Monday. Today we are doing a deep dive into X-Men to figure out what the best X-Men movie is. And this is in preparation for Deadpool 3, which has some X-Men characters coming into it. And I want to know the background. And there are a lot more X-Men films than I expected, I will be completely honest. I was hoping to have to maybe, 2 trilogies. Maybe that's it. There's like 12 movies. This is going to be a long haul. But we start with X-Men First Class. Came out in 2011. Which is a year where, I never know what it's going to be. It might be cheesy, Marvel, or it might be good. And this one was surprisingly well. I didn't think this was going to be a good movie, if I'm being frankly honest with you. But they developed a huge batch of characters in a very short amount of time, pretty decently. And as an expert in all things X-Men, obviously, with this being the first movie I'm watching, I'm going to go through the characters as I remember them. Villain was cool, kind of dumb at the same time, but pulling from one of Marvel's favorite times in history, Nazi Germany. That is where they like to pull a lot of their villains from, and this is no exception, and he played the role very well. Honestly, didn't recognize him in modern day Cold War, but he was still kind of terrifying, even though the whole power was kind of weird in my opinion, but that's fine. I think the only characters they didn't develop well were his male henchmen. The female Diamond lady was cool. Don't know what her name is, but she was cool. Telepath Diamond, nice. Tornado Man, don't know what. I don't even know if he spoke in the movie. Same thing with Teleporting Devil Man. Couldn't tell you if he spoke in the movie. Neither one really have a good developed character, but I think we'll see them in the second one since they have joined Magneto, who was cool in the movie. I don't know why I thought Magneto. Maybe it was because of that Captain America movie where we go to the alternate universe and Magneto is with the X-Men of that universe. I don't know the terms for these things quite yet, but I'm sure that's not completely far off. I thought he was a good guy, but it seems like he's about to be a villain. So that's interesting. Raven. I don't know anything about her before going into this, but I thought the Blue Lady stayed good. So interesting to see her go with him. Butterfly Lady. I don't remember her name. She was the only good character. Went evil. She had no development. I don't know anything at all. She gets no training montage either. The training montage was one of the better training montages in all of Marvel superhero movies. It was actually interesting. It was edited very well. And it jumps between characters often, but fluidly. And it flows very well. And you actually see people develop. And I like how it ended with Eric, who you assume is the most advanced because he, moved anchor through ship. That's fairly advanced for his power, but he still had training to go through, which Professor X... It was cool seeing how the X-Men got their name and their house. 'Cause, see the house in Deadpool 2, I think. And I have no background on what that means, but seeing the house, it's Professor X's house, and seeing how he gets his name, and I know he's in a wheelchair because of the Captain America movie, so seeing how he gets put into that was good to see, I guess. It's a background that I needed. He was probably my favorite character throughout the movie. He was always aligned with my opinion, I suppose is the right way to say that. I don't know. Beast? Dorky weird at first, and then started to sound more like Captain America once he became blue and hairy. which is odd to me. I don't know. I could only think of him as Chris Evans from that point on. I don't know why. We have the dude that died, who adapted to survive and clearly didn't. That was a clever line, saying adapt to this and then teleporting away. That was as amusing as a death in a Marvel movie can be, I guess. We have the dude who shoots lasers out of his... I don't know what the heck was going on there. I don't really know who that is. He was kind of... He wasn't even annoying at the start. He was just kind of there. I don't know. And so was Echo Flyboy. A flying squirrel, if I may. But that duo ended up becoming very enjoyable, and I'm glad those two and Beast have stayed with Professor X. It'll be interesting to see who Professor X recruits in the future. I'm also intrigued to see if the FBI agent comes back, CIA agent. Did he actually wipe her memory, or did he just... Because that's sad. I hope not, because they were nice. Raven going with Magneto also very boring. And the fact that he was like, maybe in a couple years, and then just did it anyway. I don't like that. There's definitely an age difference, probably. Actually, probably not, because he said when you're 40, you'll still look like a teenager. That's still weird to be attracted to that, so, good job, Magneto. But I'm guessing Magneto plus crew will be the new villain for Professor X plus crew. And the whole difficulty of the second movie will be Professor X has to now train a new batch of people to combat the batch of people that are already trained. So unfortunately, I think movie 2 is very predictable, which is tough. But I will say this movie did strike upon some very interesting points in American history, starting with World War II. Granted, that part wasn't American at all. It was Poland and Germany. And then the Cold War, which we haven't touched on in Marvel. So good job, X-Men, for doing that. This was an enjoyable first start, an introduction into X-Men. And I am so hoping that the rest of this video I'm not disappointed. Up next, we have X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, this movie's just kind of odd, if I'm honest. First of all, why is Will.i.am in the movie? He did well, but why? I don't get when he changed his name from Jimmy to Logan. His brother kept calling him Jimmy throughout the movie, and everybody else was just calling him Logan. When did that change happen? Why did that change happen? Wasn't really explained. I now understand why they went back and killed the early versions of Deadpool in the Deadpool movies. Because he was cool in the Africa scene where he was human. And then when he was not human, it was just weird. Professor X can walk now? And also, it's an old Professor X saving the young Diamond Girl, even though in First Class they fought as Diamond Girl being older and Professor X being much younger. So I don't really know what's happening there. And we did a whole movie, a whole Origins movie, the backstory of a character, which spanned a couple hundred years. Which, by the way, Wolverine and Captain America fought in the same war. Kind of a cheat code. But getting back to the actual point here, we did a full movie, a backstory movie, and the main character does not remember any of it. Dave, what was the point? That's kind of all I have for Wolverine Origins. It wasn't necessarily a bad movie. Are there worse Marvel movies? Yes, but that's not what this video is getting into. Was it a good movie? No. I wouldn't be surprised if this was in the bottom middle when it's all said and done. So far, First Class is in first place, and Origins Wolverine is in second, which is currently last. So it's in last right now. All right, next up is X-Men, and it was fine. It's a classic. Oh, the big villain is busy doing something, and his little dudes have to make sure that he doesn't get distracted, and then he gets distracted. No one dies, the good guys win. Kind of pointless to me, but it's fine. That one is going in... Where are we? Second place as of watching it. Then up next we have X2. Teleporting Devilman is well, there's a new one, and he attacks the president. Wolverine returns to the lab where he was tested on, but he finds nothing. Stryker is here, and it's a different... This is really weird about X-Men. I get it's two different trilogies, but Wolverine's played by the same actor, and everybody else isn't. It's kind of odd. So I don't get that. Stryker traps Professor X and Cyclops with Magnet. I know it's Magneto, but Magnet's more fun. The U.S. attacks House X. Blue Lady helps Magnet escape. Mystique, could not remember her name when I wrote that down. Rogue, to me, seems like Omega from Clone Wars. She's always needing help and useless 98% of the time, and then they'll randomly write her into being able to do something useful, even though she can't do anything every other time. Magnet saves the X-Plane. Wolverine vs. Cat thing, I don't know. Kills her with adamantium injection. That was terrifying. Magnet leaves with Pyro. X-Men escape. Nobody dies, and they save the day. And then Jean sacrifices herself to let the X-Plane escape, even though... Like, she basically just turned the jet on. I don't know why she couldn't have just done that sooner. But that's fine. X-Men then go ease some political tensions. We then have The Last Stand. Oh, X2 is going to go above X-Men. I like that one better. So it's still currently in second, below First Class. Last Stand. Jean is alive, apparently. She takes Scott's powers, and he's now dead. Mystique shot with a cure, saving Magnet. He leaves her behind, recruits Juggernaut, and Jean attacks Wolverine and escapes the mansion. Jean kills Professor X. Magnet takes her. Mystique rats on Magnet's location to the U.S. Army. It's a decoy base, so they find nothing. Magnet is cured by a stab from Beast, and a lot of people have died. This movie most definitely had death. Jean kills even more people. Wolverine then kills Jean for the second time in this trilogy. And Rogue got the cure. So that's cool. She already couldn't do anything, so now she can just still do nothing. Magnet still has some ability, and Charles is apparently alive, but in a different body, maybe? I don't know. We only really heard him. Last Stand is below X-Men. It's in between X-Men and X-Men Origins Wolverine. We move on to The Wolverine, which is clearly different than X-Men Origins Wolverine. We have the Japan nuke, and he survives and saves a Japanese soldier with him. He is forced into a bath, which is funny. I'm going to skip the whole part in America because that was pointless. Honestly, the first hour of this movie didn't really matter. It was just kind of Wolverine finding himself. If Jean could leave us alone throughout this movie, that would have been awesome. But that just didn't happen. We have a gunfight at a funeral, very epic, very fun, and we get a nice chase along a bullet train, which was terrifyingly cool. And honestly, I don't know how one would function on the top of a train going 300 miles an hour, but I believed that representation. We have the Asian version of Hawkeye in this movie. That's very cool. Healing powers are weakened. Logan's finding himself. Great quote here. How'd you know the pool was down there? I didn't. It's the first time I laughed in about an hour and a half in this movie. No, that's not true. Hour and 15 minutes. I think it's about an hour and 15 minutes in. This movie was a dry first half. Let's just say that. Logan gets to lose a claw of adamantium, and it looked rather painful. He also tells Asian Hawkeye to go fuck himself, pretty boy. That was a good line. Like that. That was fun. Viper's just gross. The peeling of the... I get it, Viper's a snake, so, shed the skin. Didn't like it. Not at all. He loses his other claw. Mariko stops Iron Man's samurai grandfather from taking Wolverine powers. Very nice of her. He regrows the pre-adamantium claws. And Logan is ready to start his soldier life again and not stay with Mariko in Japan. 2 years later is our post-credit scene, and we have Professor X, who it was hinted at in the past that he survived, and he is back in his original body. And him and Magnet recruit Logan for something. The humans have designed something horrifying. The movie's fine. It's going to land itself pretty much in the middle right now. And honestly, will be that middle placeholder of was this movie better than Wolverine or was it worse? This will probably be the guideline for good or bad, because I would say this is the lowest of the goods so far, in my opinion. Up next, we have Days of Future Past. This was awesome. Honestly, Avengers level movie, probably in the top 10 of Marvel, but I'm not even putting X-Men into the Marvel ranking, and now this movie's making me think I should. Where were they hiding this quality in the first, 6 of X-Men movies? So now we've hit a good one. We're gonna keep going with that quality, right? Right? This was a really cool way to mesh the characters from Trilogy 1 to Trilogy 2. Like, actually good. Sorry if I seem so confused. I didn't think I'd get this good of a movie out of the X-Men. Magnet did JFK, apparently, and is being held in a prison below the Pentagon, which in itself seems like a dumb place to put your country's most powerful prisoner. But hey, X-Men don't like making America seem smart. And the more that I live as an adult in America, I'm not sure if we are smart. So maybe they've got it right. Peter is awesome. Peter Maximoff, which I believe... So Wanda Maximoff had a fast brother. That's not him, because he's not... Is that the dad? I don't know the Maximoff family that well. So I'm going with that's their dad. But I've got no clue. But his scene in the kitchen, awesome. It felt very Guardians of the Galaxy kind of fight scene. But that's great. JFK was apparently a mutant. Hell yeah. No wonder he's a lot of people's not favorite president, but he's up there. And Magnet had actually tried saving him. How kind. Magnet then tries to kill Mystique to keep her DNA away from the humans. He's now working on his own Professor X training montage, finding himself montage. Really good. The X-Men somehow, for some reason, even in a bad movie, know how to make a really good training montage. Well, that's not true. Actually, that's really not true. It's only in First Class and this one. So in this trilogy, they know how to make a good training montage. That's good. It's great seeing Logan get through a metal detector and forget that he doesn't have his adamantium yet. That's kind of amusing. I will say, going from the airport post-credit scene in The Wolverine to this, kind of odd. There's no build-up. It was just, hey, something bad's going to happen. And then, wow, we let that bad thing happen really badly. I don't understand what year we're in. How long has passed since The Wolverine? How long hasn't passed since The Wolverine? It felt kind of weird. That's the only complaint I have so far in this movie. And it only dawned on me at this point when he went through the metal detector that we started this whole story going through a metal detector. So yeah, that's odd. Storm, always awesome, but combined with Magnet, dope as hell. What a great combination. This happened, honestly, so epically that I don't know how to put this into words to tell you how this happened without you just watching the movie. And this is a movie that, frankly, is good enough that I would recommend you just go and watch. Because it was just good. A lot of people died, but a lot of it didn't matter because that's not the actual future that matters now. So that's cool. My concern now at the very end of the movie is they did all this to bring back Jean and Scott, and for that I say fuck off. I don't want them back. I liked that they were dead. They were annoying. They were weird. They didn't add to the storyline, except in negative points. That's the only thing in my mind that this movie has now done, and that's really unfortunate. You cut off the last 2 minutes of this movie, great movie. Really great movie. The post-credit scene, some weird mutant thing makes the pyramids. This is the best movie so far. Don't get me wrong. The ending leaves a sour taste. A sour aftertaste. Because now I know what's going to come back. And that's Jean. And honestly, movies with Jean in it aren't good. So now I get more of that, which is great. Alright, move on to Apocalypse. The Egypt stuff's kind of weird. The Polish police kill Magnet's family. A great line in this movie, "Thank you, Professor, you're a genius." And Hank responds with, "Well, I'm not a professor." That's an incredible line. Magnet recruited by Egyptian weirdo. Another incredible Fast Guy scene. He is becoming a favorite. Professor X is captured by Magnet and weirdos. Stryker captures Hank, Mystique, Fast Dude, Myra. After the X house explodes, Jean, Blue Devil, and Scott joins them. No more nukes. They all got fired off into space. Magnet is Fast Guy's dad. Interesting twist. The wolf has arrived and then promptly runs off. Mystique convinces Magnet to switch sides. Dark Phoenix, Storm, Magnet, and Scott combined to kill weird Egyptian dude. Overall, smack in the middle. Had really good points in the movie. Most notably, Fast Guy running around like it's a Guardians of the Galaxy fight scene. And there were some low points, like Dark Phoenix being ultimately powerful like she is in every movie she's in, and making the rest of the movie kind of pointless because she could have just done this an hour and a half ago. So that's cool. But it was interesting. I don't understand the timeline of X-Men. They just bounce back and forth. It's like they didn't have a clear goal of time direction, and every movie just were like, wait, we should go forward. Wait, no, this one we should go backwards. And then it just kind of ended up with this. It's a decent movie, not in the top of X-Men by any means. Alright, up next is Logan, and immediately off the bat, great intro scene, but it definitely feels like it has a different rating than most X-Men movies. It is very gruesome. Having an old Logan feels kind of weird, considering how old he actually is, and we're in 2029 now, apparently. And Logan is traveling with an old Professor X in Mexico. It's all very interesting. Professor X aging, makes sense. He's been aging normally. Logan being old just feels wrong. X-Men comics are real in this universe, which is interesting. I guess it makes sense because the X-Men are real. I just didn't think the X-Men comics would work the same. There is a female child Wolverine, but has spikes coming out of the feet as well. There are automatic trucks, which are kind of cool, but also cause an accident, so kind of bad. Professor X killed the X-Men? Are we supposed to have an explanation on that somewhere? Or no, it's just ambiguously that's what happened. Wolverine remake kills Professor X and the family that helped them. This was a brutal fight with the Wolverines fighting each other. A sad moment with Muncie as he was going to try and shoot Logan in the head, but he was out of bullets and just kind of fell over and died from his injuries. Kind of disappointed. Logan is definitely not a villain in this movie, but he's not a hero either. That's for sure. It gives very Last of Us vibes now that Charles is dead. Great scene with Logan asking the child, "You can talk?" And then immediately realizing that was a mistake and telling her to shut the fuck up. That was hilarious. Thank you for that. Also, bad shit happens to people I care about, the child responding with, "Then I'll be fine." That's an ouch. That felt very Last of Us as well. It was a horrifying final fight. This movie, they really said we're going gruesome. I mean, it's Wolverine versus Wolverine with child Wolverine, so there's just a lot of blades going around at people's necks. It's horrifying. Logan is dead. There's no post-credit scene. And how is he gonna make a new movie after this? He's in the new Deadpool movie, but he's dead. We then move on to Dark Phoenix. Child Jean accidentally kills parents, which is a different intro story than the OG Jean, so I don't understand how that works. Jean passes out following a power burst. Oh wait, I skipped a lot. There's a mission to space. Jean eats like a whole solar flare or something is what they're calling it. Jean passes out following a power burst, and Jean's dad is alive, so she visits him and realizes that he didn't want her anymore. The X-Men go to pick her up. She kills Raven. Hank blames Charles for everything. Jean seeks out Magnet and his crew. Now, I am confused, because in the movies that take place after this trilogy, Raven's alive. How does that work? At all. I think. I don't know. Maybe the rewrite thing happened. The rewrite thing's got me really confused, I'll be honest. She attacks the military that comes looking for her, so he kicks her out. Hank tells Magnet that Jean killed Raven. They plan to kill her. Jean has joined some alien species, people, weird alien zombie power-sucking people. Jean badly harms Magnet and Blue Devil Man. The weird alien takes Jean's space power, but not all of it. All of the mutants are captured by the military, and the mutants unite to fight the aliens as their convoy is attacked. I just don't like Jean. She doesn't have a power. She is just all powerful. And to me, that is pointless in a superhero movie in general, because there's just no way to beat her, and it just makes it kind of pointless. She becomes a celestial phoenix energy thing, and a wake of destruction is left behind the fight. Charles then retires from the school, and Hank is in charge, and it seemed like Charles was going to go live with Eric after this all wraps up. But then again, in Logan, he's with him, and I don't... The timeline's gone. I don't know. It happened. We have Logan moving into second behind Days of Future Past. I just don't think anything's topping that from what's left in X-Men. And Dark Phoenix is not the worst X-Men movie that they've made. I think it's third worst. But Origins Wolverine and Last Stand. I didn't enjoy Last Stand Jean. I that was worse to me than this Jean. And Jean's kind of the bad part of both those movies. And this Jean was slightly better than that. And the weird alien things I didn't like at the beginning because I didn't know what the heck they were. They didn't have a purpose for probably the first hour and 15 minutes, but they kind of got a purpose towards the end. So it was fine. Alright, we finish off with New Mutants, which is barely a movie, if I'm honest. It doesn't really have a plot for the first hour and 15 minutes. And it just didn't go anywhere. They basically made Jean 2.0 or 3.0 because we already had two Jeans, but this time she's Native American, and instead of killing her mom, she kills her dad. Kind of pointless. Definitely the worst movie of the X-Men movies. And it was the only one that didn't feature a single X-Men. I don't know the thought behind that one, but that's fine. So we go over the final list of X-Men movies. At the bottom, we have the newest, New Mutants. Then from there, we go to X-Men Origins Wolverine. Then X-Men The Last Stand. Then Dark Phoenix. Then The Wolverine. And around in the middle is Apocalypse. And then X-Men X2. And now we're into the top 3. In third place, we have First Class, which was the first movie I watched, so it did hold up pretty well after the rest of the movies. That just shows that, I guess they didn't make many good ones in the timeline order. In second place, we have Logan, which is one of the newer ones. And the best one, probably by far and easily the top movie out of the X-Men, was Days of Future Past. That is all I have for the X-Men movies. I found out my order and which one was my favorite. Let me know your thoughts of my list in the comments down below. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.